All right. Diddy's gonna take you to us. I'm gonna take Robin to her appointment at 2:15, and I'm gonna come back around and swoop you, pick you back up, and then pick her up. That'll be that. All right. Excellent. Now we are nearing the end. Just so you guys know, on the next Friday, when I'm here, we are going to be discussing 11th step. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will and the power to carry that out. What does that mean and all that jazz? But before we get into that, we first want to know how often we should take this personal inventory. So, we got this personal inventory that we're supposed to be taking. And for those of you who are interested in what some of the questions are, I will be showing it to you. If you would like to get your own copy of this, you can get it at like a NA meeting or something like that, IP number 9. But let's just see what is the... It works how and why tells us that while our goal is to maintain continuous awareness of ourselves throughout each day, it's very helpful to sit down at the end of each day and work this step. We need the consistency of doing something every day for it to become a habit and to internalize the spiritual principles of the activity. As we stay clean, and our days of continuous absence turn into weeks and months and years, we'll find that taking a personal inventory has become second nature. We'll find that we keep track of our spiritual fitness comes naturally without having to think too much about it. We'll notice right away that we're headed in a direction we don't want to go or about to engage in behavior that's sure to cause harm. We become able to correct it. So frequency of our formal efforts to take personal inventories may depend on the experience with our experience with recovery. In the beginning, some of us sat down at the beginning of our day and the end of our day, or even both times, and went through IP number 9 or something similar to took our spiritual temperature. The point is that we want to keep at it until it becomes a habit, until it's second nature to continuously monitor our recovery, our spiritual state, notice that we're going off course right away and work to change it. So what this is saying is that we want to do this inventory until it becomes second nature, until you don't have to sit at the end of the day and ask yourselves these questions. You want to get to a point where you're able to think about this and make a decision in the moment without having to sit at the end of the day and ask yourself these questions until it becomes second nature. How long does that take? There's plenty of science out there that tells how long it takes for habits to develop. Anywhere from, I think, a couple days to 250 something days. So how long is it going to take for these automatically for you to automatically think about these changes or your moral inventory, or for it to become second nature of a 10-step and promptly admit your wrongs? I don't know. It may take a while. It may take less time. It's up to you to just start doing it to discover, how it's working for you. And what are some of the questions on this inventory? Well, let's go ahead and look at some of these questions. Have I reaffirmed? Now, these questions are different than the information pamphlet. These questions have a lot to do with a higher power. The other questions in the IP have a lot to do with kind of like behavior. So I'll show you the difference between the two. Have I reaffirmed my faith in a loving, caring God today? Have I sought out the guidance of a higher power today? How? Those second questions are important. If it's a yes or no answer, just put yes or no. But if there's a follow-up on how, answer that. What have I done to be of service to God and to the people around me? Has God given me anything to be grateful for today? Do I believe that my higher power can show me how to live and better align myself with the will of that power? Do I see any old patterns in my life today? If so, which ones? Have I been resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Have I set myself up for disappointment? Have I been kind and loving toward all? Have I been worried about yesterday or tomorrow? Did I allow myself to become obsessed about anything? Have I allowed myself to be too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Am I taking myself too seriously in any area of my life? Do I suffer from any physical, mental, or spiritual problems? Have I kept something to myself that I should have discussed with my sponsor? Did I have any extreme feelings today? What were they and why did I have them? What are the problem areas of my life today? Which defects played a part in my life today and how? Was there any fear in my life today? What did I do today that I wish I hadn't done? What didn't I do that I wish I had done? Am I willing to change? Have there been conflicts in any of my relationships today? What were those conflicts? Am I maintaining personal integrity in my relationships with others? Have I harmed myself either directly or indirectly today? And if so, how? Do I owe any apologies or amends? Where was I wrong? If I could do it over again, what would I do differently? How might I do better next time? Did I stay clean today? Was I good to myself today? What were the feelings I had today? Did I use them to choose principle centered action? What did I do to be of service to others today? What have I done today about which I feel positive? Have I given me satisfaction today? What did I do today that I want to be sure to repeat? Did I go to a meeting or talk to another addict today? What do I have to be grateful for today? Now, that's a lot of questions. How do you see yourself benefiting from asking yourselves those questions every day? Like whether it's at the end or beginning of your day? It's a lot of questions.
It'll probably make you have a better day if you realize what's stopping it.
So through those questions, you may even discover like what's stopping you from having a good day. What's stopping you from being positive or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
As a result of doing this, right? Over and over and over, we start to consciously become aware of the actual things we're doing that are impacting our lives and our future. Like you can tangibly start to see the moments in your life in which generated the place you are currently in life. When you do this 10th step over and over and over, you start to build a conscious contact with your higher power. You're becoming aware of how these behaviors, these circumstances, these relationships, everything is a power greater than yourselves. And as a result of doing these things, I have generated this outcome. And this is where we start to pray, we start to meditate and think deeply about how the hell did I get here? I can't believe I'm here. This is absolutely incredible. And we start to consciously become aware of the things we actually did to end up getting here. And the question comes where we pray for more knowledge of his will. Like, what's the next thing to do? What am I doing next? Do I keep going to these meetings? Do I work my steps again? Do I, aspire to get another dream? And we pray for knowledge of his will and the power to carry that out. It's one thing to have the knowledge. It's another thing to have the power. Like you could know it all everybody knows how to maybe get sober or whatever the case may be, but do you have the power to do it? Yeah, maybe you have the knowledge of what you need to do next to change, but do you have the power to do it? Maybe you have the power to do it. You just don't know what it is. You just don't know how to do it. You don't know how to reach that next level. You don't know how to get that next change. You don't know how to get to the next place that you want to be. This next step coming up is where we get those answers. Like, dude, I've been struggling with my anger. I find myself being angry all the time. How do you work through that? Starting to talk to people about these questions and ask them these questions. Now I'm bringing in the idea of God's will. All right. Because we're praying only for God's will and the knowledge to carry that out. So, where does God's will play in this? What about my will? Is there free will? I'm going to show you a clip of Robert Sapolsky. If you find this person interesting, I highly suggest you go do some research. He's an evolutionary biologist at Stanford University. He has many different lectures available on YouTube, full-length lectures available on YouTube, where he discusses topics like depression in the United States, and lots of other topics. So if you find this interesting, I highly suggest you go research him. Maybe check out his episode with Andrew Huberman on the Huberman Lab podcast. And what we're going to see here is how many different factors actually go into the decisions that we make, especially the next decision that we make, and how that's not only for the negative parts of our lives, but also the positive parts of our lives. And if I acquire this knowledge, maybe it can help me facilitate some future change and understand what's the next thing I need to turn my will and my life over to. Because at this point, if you were to work the steps or, be in treatment or whatever the case may be, we're working it. We've worked it. It's working. You know what I mean? So what's the next thing that I have to do, or why am I, or just what's the next thing I pretty much have to do? So let me show you this video. You should be able to hear it too. Do I have free will?
Along the lines of choice, I'd like to shift gears slightly and talk about